We are back for another college football recap after another unbelievable Saturday of college football in a week 3 slate, guys, that we knew was going to be good. It delivered from sun up to sundown, starting with the 11 o'clock slate that ended up being awesome all the way from the 2:30, heck, all the way to the end. I tried to stay up through Hawaii and Portland State, waiting on the end of a parlay to hit. But David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback, down there at the bottom, you can see my brother, former Western State Colorado wide receiver. He's got boy band hair and a boy band attitude.
I'm not Jeffrey
Crain.
Dahmer.
You're slowly coming out of your cage, that's for sure. Guys, we did the Georgia-Tennessee full instant reaction yesterday. You can go see that. We'll hit on that a little bit at the end, but make sure if you're a Georgia-Tennessee fan, you're like, why the hell would you not lead with Georgia-Tennessee? Well, we did a whole 15-minute episode on that yesterday, so find it in the channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Let's start with LSU, Florida. And look, we can sit here and go through the numbers, and I'm sure a lot of people, obviously, that watch that game. I can simplify it a little bit for you, and I want to get to this Brian Kelly kind of, reporter issue we saw. That game came down to what it pretty much always comes down to, the line of scrimmage and which team is going to lose the game. Because most teams don't lose them, or most teams don't win games. They lose them. I mean, your leading rusher for Florida has 46 yards on 10 carries. Caden Durham for LSU gets 93 on 15. Now the running back scored a touchdown, but there's one important number in this game, and David, I'll start with you, and that's 5. That's the amount of just interceptions. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about fumbles. I'm not talking about drop snaps on field goals or any of that on punt. 5 interceptions from DJ Lagway, who I don't think is a bad player, but he's still a young player that is learning how to play the game at this level and had to go into a raucous environment and got shut out in the second half. And, I mean, again, Billy Napier, we can sit here and talk about, are they going to fire him? Are they not going to fire him? It's not looking good, but Coney, you can't throw it to the other team 5 times, especially down in Death Valley.
Man, this is an incredible win for Brian Kelly and for LSU because there was no scenario that existed where it was going to be pretty. I told you guys all week, Florida is going to give them their best shot, and the best that LSU can hope for at home in a night environment is to have a scrappy, gritty, gutsy win, and that's exactly what they delivered. Brian Kelly now goes to 17-1 at home night games at LSU. I still have some concerns actually about the LSU offense for a change, but that Blake Baker defense continues to deliver. And the just in multiple ways, the way they're disguising coverages, the way that Harold Perkins is playing and getting after the quarterback, but you hit on it. 5 interceptions, and I had to look up the stat sheet because those 5 interceptions by the defense actually led the team in receptions for LSU. Huge win for them to be able to move on to 3-0, undefeated, and they did so, guys, against 2 of the top 10 quarterbacks on my list preseason in Cade Klubnik and DJ Lagway.
Yeah, well, look, to me, if I'm a Florida fan, the reason Billy Napier was able to, you kept him was because that was on the promise that DJ Lagway was him. Don't worry, guys. Once DJ Lagway gets comfortable, Florida is back in the national championship spotlight. And he did some things last year, Blaine, that we look at and we're like, hey, man, this guy obviously has ability. Then he gets his injury, kind of still working through that. Again, not that he's a bust or he's a bad player, but if I'm a Florida fan, you told me this was fixed. Why am I still having to go through this when you told me the reason we kept this guy was because of this quarterback? And then I look up and you're 33 or 49 for 287s with 1 touchdown, which was a beautiful throw. And he made some great throws, but 5 interceptions, including a pick 6, that really kind of puts you out of it. I mean, at some point, if you're a Florida fan, I'm sick of being promised Hall cans and getting a rawhide wallet.
Why is this surprising to you this week? Did you watch the South Florida game?
That's what I'm saying.
Did you watch it? If I'm Florida, this is a week ago, right? It's not even this game. You lost to South Florida, and you scored, 15 points with all this talent? Look, and you can come out and say Billy Napier is going to be your coach, whatever. That's fine. But I'm telling you, it's going every week for Florida is going to be an absolute dogfight. Go look at their schedule. And you just lost to a better LSU team. I think LSU is the best team in the country. I've been vocal about that for multiple weeks. And they show again, which, look, you look at Florida, the personnel they have, especially on the defensive side, there's talent there. There's NFL players there. So nobody's going to be perfect for LSU on offense, but they're a complete team. And I will keep saying this week in, week out. What year is this Billy Napier's coaching in? Year what?
4. Right?
Year 4, right? He's already bought another year because of what DJ Lagway was. How long are they going to let this go on at Florida? He's not your guy. He never was your guy. He'll never be your guy. It's time to cut the cord, cut the arm off for the whole body gets it because it's not working out. It's not. And everybody knows that.
Well, I think the whole body's got it now. I mean, at this point, you might as well just euthanize the damn thing if you're going to do that. I just the timing when you have, if you're going to make a guy an interim coach looking at, and I want to get to LSU. I want to talk, Cone, about a point you made about the LSU offense. But I mean, if you're Florida, you're staring 2-5 right in the tits, man. I mean, maybe even worse. I mean, you've got South Florida at home you lost to. You lost at LSU. Congratulations. What do you win, Billy Napier? A trip to Miami to face a complete team that just destroyed South Florida yesterday and really made it look easy, if we're going to be honest. And then guess what? After that one, when you probably start out 1-3, you reach down in the bag, and what do you get? Maybe in the craziest turn of fate, a team that a lot of people thought were going to win the Natty, this may be the easiest one out of the big group against Texas at home with the way that they're playing. But we all know that's not going to be a walk in the park. And then, Cody, you got to go to A&M after that. So, I mean, you're coming off this stretch where you could look up, you lose these 3, and you're 1-5, and you almost got to fire the guy, right? I mean, is the party truly over for Billy Napier in Gainesville, even after all the good feelings at the end of last year and how it looked in the Netflix documentary?
Yeah, and to me, when I see this, I don't see this as, oh, Billy Napier's a terrible coach. I see it as how competitive the rest of the league is and how competitive the lineage you're working against at Florida is. It really just speaks to how high end of coaches Steve Spurrier is, Urban Meyer is. Like, those are elite coaches that you're having to follow in the footsteps of, and that's why a standard gets created at a place. Yes, the standard is high, and it should always be high. And the concept we're talking about more and more in the transfer portal era of, well, should you hold on to a coach who may not be your long-term solution just to hold on to maybe a generational player? Obviously, that to me is a losing proposition anyway in the sport of football. Maybe that works a little bit more in basketball, but it certainly is a losing proposition when you're not developing the guy into the generational player. And DJ Lagway, Jake, you hit on an important point, is that he's still a true sophomore. He's still a young guy who's going to take his lumps. Unfortunately for Florida fans, you can't, you gonna have 4 losing seasons in a row or something? Like, that's just not the Florida Gators standard.
David, I want to stick with you for a second. You talked about the LSU offense and Brian Kelly in the press conference after the game kind of went off a little bit. And I understand where he's coming from. I think it may have been one of the first questions he was asked about why they're struggling on third down or the lack of explosivity on offense. And here's just one moment that I would really like for the audience to understand why that irks me the way it does, because ever since Brian Kelly's been at LSU, when you know the style of play that Brian Kelly wants to put in the program, it's an old school style, right? Not that he wants it to be boring, but it's still kind of an old school professional style. When you look at complimentary football, the Jaden Daniels thing was an anomaly. I heard LSU fans and LSU reporters complain about not being able to play complimentary football, about the team being so imbalanced that it could never truly win a championship. And then you get a team that may not be the best in the country on either side of the ball, but I think they're both good enough and play smart enough and play complimentary football enough with each other, because that's a real thing, to win a national championship. And you want to complain now. Then you'll never be happy. It's never going to be perfect. After every single game, you could look at the box score and I can find you one thing that to go up there and ask the coach that they didn't do great, because you're dealing with human beings. Even in games, even Bama beating La Monroe 76 or whatever it was to nothing. I'm sure there was something or some number in that game you could point at and say, oh, well, you're not doing that great. At some point, you can understand that it's not going to be a perfect product and still be thankful that a problem was fixed. So I understand, Cone, why BK got upset.
Can you recap quickly what he said?
I thought they were fine.
Can you recap what Brian Kelly said before I answer?
Yeah, basically a reporter, I believe, asked him about third downs, and he kind of said, a little bit of what I said. He's like, these guys just won an SEC game by double digits against Florida.
Yeah.
We're 3-0, 1-0 in the league. Went on the road and beat Clemson. I know some would be like, oh, well, Clemson's 1-2 now. That's still an easy to do. But, the problem was fixed, right? You wanted balance. What did we talk about, guys? Both of you for years, and it's fixed, and now you still want to complain.
And not just balance between offense and defense, but on the offensive side by itself, can you be balanced between run and pass? So to me on offense, there are some pros and cons. The pro is you've rushed for over 100 yards in your first 3 games of the season. And we asked, can LSU run the football well enough to win games this year? They've rushed for over 100 yards. Now, on the con side of things, yes, struggling on third down a bit. The fact LSU fans questioning, why aren't we pushing the football down the field more? We asked that same thing a year ago, and Garrett Nussmeier ended up having 25% of his 4,000 yards be on throws 20 yards or more downfield. So I think that's going to be circumstantial per game. The bigger thing for me is there's at least 1 to 2 throws per game from Garrett Nussmeier where I'm ending up scratching my head. Throwing across his body yesterday when LSU already had the holding call and was going to be set back, to throw that interception is just inexcusable. And you saw Brian Kelly address it on the sideline. So to me, there's pros and cons about the offense. But again, I come back to the defensive side of the football where we asked, can that unit be great enough that they win you games when the offense isn't playing well enough? And how about this for a stat? The LSU defense, 40% of plays from the opposing offenses are held for no gain or a loss of yards. Over 40%. That's incredible.
Blaine, I want to move on to this A&M win, but I've watched LSU win a lot of games and whip a lot of ass with really good defense and an offense that's a little bit above average, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah, I watched LSU win a national championship that was playing defense and running the toss sweep.
Yeah.
For the entire game. This
true.
is insane to me, to be honest. You beat a Florida team at home. What are you, 17-1? At home at 6:30 by 10
At
points.
night,
Your defense gets 5 picks, right? And the first question that he gets is, "What's wrong?" Well, whatever it is, that's just almost clinically insane. You can point at any team in the country and nitpick a number or a statistic where something's not going great. LSU just had a fantastic win against a good Florida team where their defense got 5 interceptions. Shame that reporter in public. And I believe he asked him something first. I don't know if it was about the run game, right? And then Brian Kelly didn't like it. And then he came with the second question about third down. So it was back-to-back things that were negative.
If I'm Brian Kelly, I'd react
the same damn way.
Yeah, he said, what about running the ball? Bro, Caden Durham had 93 yards on 15 carries. They had what? What was it? Average close to 5 yards a carry, something like that. If you don't think that is good enough against the athletes Florida has in the front 7, I'm going to get you a shirt that says, I've survived not knowing ball for this long.
Caden Durham was averaging 6.2.
Yeah. Complain about that. Write me a letter so I have something to wipe my ass with, to quote a great coach that I know. But guys, LSU, Southeast Louisiana, quickly going to beat them next week. Then you go to Ole Miss. We'll see with Austin Simmons. I know Chambliss. That game was insane. And then you get South Carolina. How that one's looking at home. Heck, to be honest with you, man, the toughest game in this 5-game stretch of Ole Miss, at Ole Miss, South Carolina at home, at Vandy, A&M at home, at Bama. Hell, it may be at Vandy right now. That's crazy. That's crazy to think. So if you're LSU, just continue just walking along the path to righteousness, right? And now you're 3-0. But Coney, what a huge one in South Bend yesterday.
Yeah.
What a game.
Fun game.
Someone clip Jake saying what a huge one. Just end it right there, please. Send it to me. At Crain
they already did it.
They say that every morning.
Yeah.
to myself.
Yeah.
During the week, a certain individual looked right down the barrel of the camera and said, the over in the A&M Notre Dame game may be the best bet on
you
the
did.
board. Maybe the best bet on the
went
board.
the other way
At 49.5. All right, and I'm not saying this, Coney, to turn this into me versus you, but I just
do it.
Cone, yeah, he is.
Do it.
It's purse,
this is one.
It's
well,
purse.
if it was, no, just kidding.
And to boot, I took Notre Dame.
Yeah, 41-38. It ended up being 41-40. Just a fantastic football game. We talk about the holder dropping the extra point that ends up costing you the game. And I know it wasn't the most efficient night from Marcel Reed. But damn it, oh boy, got in the kitchen and cooked when it was time. The biggest guest showed up at the restaurant, didn't he? That fourth down play, some of the plays he kept alive with his legs, some of the catches the wide receivers made. I mean, good Lord, at the end of the day, if you're going to make some of those plays. Cone, 17-37, 360 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Marcel Reed ends up with 37 rushing yards on 7 carries. Guys, A&M gets the win they need. That was the one they needed to kind of get off the schneid a little bit in some of these big games. David Cone, A&M, just bad on defense, but really good on offense? Or, I mean, is this team, could they be a problem here in the stretch run?
Man, I'll tell you what, nice call on both fronts. I said this week, this could be a 17-14 game, or this could be 40-37.
Yeah.
Well, it was 41-40, actually. And I didn't realize, and this is my own fault, when I took Notre Dame, that they had the lacrosse player still as the starting holder, or else maybe I would have gone a different way, and that ended up being the difference. But it didn't even matter. I mean, just think about that sequence. I mean, Notre Dame comes down to take the lead, then you drop the hold on the extra point, then you give up a touchdown on the return that only by the grace of God is there a holding penalty called, and then Marcel Reed drives the length of the field. And while you try to put up a goal line stand, we're throwing back shoulder fades to the blocking tight end for a touchdown. At some point, it was just destiny. Either Notre Dame was trying to lose the game or it was just destiny. All credit to Texas A&M. Huge road win. But when Georgia and Tennessee were going blow for blow back and forth in a shootout, I was looking at that game like, man, I think both these teams could be college football playoff teams. When Texas A&M and Notre Dame were going blow for blow, I thought these are 2 above average teams going back and forth. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Texas A&M can still make the college football playoff. We can go down the schedule and see. I don't think that's the case for Notre Dame anymore. I cannot believe how poorly they're playing on the back end in the secondary. At some point, stop playing man coverage. Stop playing man coverage because you are getting exposed. It happened against Miami. It happened again against Texas A&M. And it's not CJ Carr's fault. That kid's playing well enough for you to win football games. And the game plan was much better. Jeremiah Love had 23 carries, 94 yards. As a team, you rushed for 136. At some point, Texas A&M wanted it more, and they went and took it.
Yeah, look, Blaine, this A&M team, it's weird for me to watch a Mike Elko coach team struggle on defense in the front 7 the way that they are about and I don't think it's athleticism and personnel. Do they have a bunch of great pass rushers? Probably not. Is Jeremiah Love a great back? He is. And again, like Cone said, that he had 20 more carries than CJ Carr tonight. Should have been the plan against Miami. Don't understand why CJ Carr had more carries than Jeremiah Love. And by the way, Jeremiah Love, 4 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown. You also got to stop jumping so much, bro. Like, you're not going to make it. Like, you're going to not go make it.
I love it, though. As someone watching football, I wish guys would hurdle every play.
But to Cone's point, Notre Dame on defense, you can't lack pass rushing ability and lack chaotic ability on the defensive line and play man behind it.
Especially against a mobile quarterback.
Either man or zone because it's zone till it's man. That's the way it works out. But you're going to get gutted if you cannot get to the quarterback and you play a lot of man coverage in the back end. It's not going to work.
It's a lot easier to do if you have just a guy who sits in the pocket and throws the ball around from sideline to sideline. But like Marcel Reed knows how to move the pocket. If he gets outside, even if you put a spy on him, that takes somebody away in coverage. It's just this is huge for A&M from a confidence standpoint. right? Just getting them over the hump and beating a team like this. But this was the most un-Mike Elko win ever. Ever to me, right? You look, I know you had 128 yards rushing, but you threw it 40 times.
Yeah.
Right? You threw it 40 times for 360 yards. You gave up over 100 on the ground, 136, 4 yards a carry. You had 13 penalties.
Yeah, that's the most un-Mike Elko thing.
You were on the road.
Yeah.
You threw it 40 times. You had 13 penalties for 90 yards, and you still won.
Still won.
If I'm A&M, that is just a lot of things to fix, but that is humongous because usually A&M finds a way to lose these games.
For sure.
They find that's the reason why you end up 8-4 because you find a way to lose these games. But there's something different about this A&M team this year. This was a huge win for them. I mean, their schedule is not fantastic, but this gives you breathing room. And to me, on the other side, Notre Dame, you're out of the playoffs.
You're out. Yeah, again, I'm glad I didn't have. I don't think they should be in if they run the table and the rest of these teams look like what they've looked like. But I think maybe the biggest point, Blaine, that you hit on, and again, we could talk about some of the decision making from Marcel Reed. I don't think was great in the past game. He got away with a couple, including a couple times in the end zone in the second half. And talk about the lack of ability to stop Notre Dame consistently. But I think the mental aspect for not just the players and the coaches, but the fans for A&M to finally have this game go their way. Mm-hmm. And guys, Notre Dame was up 21-7, right, in the second quarter. And A&M ends up dropping a 21 piece in the second quarter and then scoring 10 in the fourth. Obviously kicking that extra point to win. So A&M had to do it coming back in a hostile environment with a team that had their back against the wall. And guys, in two of the biggest games today for the SEC, A&M was down 21-7 in the first half. Georgia was down 21-7 in the first half. Both teams that were down come back and find a way to win on the road. It's a long game. It's a 4-quarter game. Yeah. And I'll say this as well. As much as we hyped up Casey Concepcion, and we should, nobody can go get it. Mario Craver right now, maybe the best wide receiver in the country, had 207 on 7 receptions, and he's doing Ryan Williams type things after the catch with the ball in his hands. He looks like one of those like Russian figure skaters back in the day that's like doing all the tricks at the Flying Lotus or whatever.
Well, with Georgia coming from behind, it makes a little bit more sense. The way that they are built with the depth and the style of football they play, I kind of always was suspecting, okay, this is what they want to do, and will Georgia impose their will in the second half? And they ended up doing that, and Tennessee still almost won the game. But with Notre Dame and A&M, it's like Notre Dame, the style of play that they like to go with, you would seem to be protected in the second half by running the football effectively and playing strong defense. That's how that team made it to the national championship a year ago. Instead, you're giving up 3 scores, like you said, Jake. You're dropping holds. I mean, it's just like it turned into a cluster. And more importantly to me than the 0-2 record and having the 2 losses for the college football playoff is you're just not playing college football playoff caliber football. Yeah. Like, that's the problem. And yes, the schedule opens up. Yes, kudos for starting with Miami and A&M. We love that. These are 2 great games that you started with against great opponents, and the schedule will lighten up. But it's like, are you going to develop into the type of team that could even be playoff worthy? Because I don't see that. And that's the same question I have for A&M, quite frankly.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's just really hard when you're in, you fail the first big test of the class that year, and then you fail the midterm. At some point, is it just smarter to drop the class? Just find another.
It's just like I can already see. I can see it in the future. We're gonna get down to November, 22nd. They're gonna be playing Syracuse. They'll be playing Syracuse. Will be ranked. They're gonna be playing Syracuse. They'll beat them by 40. beat them by 40. Then everybody's like, well, Notre Dame's won out. They look like a great football team. Why not just put them in the playoffs?
Fix all the mistakes.
I just think the losers, a couple of the losers in the conference championship games, and again, this is circumstantial. We'll see how the season plays out. Last year was a lot of fun in many ways, but the loser of some of those conference championship games, like SMU a year ago in the ACC, when Notre Dame's sitting at home and not playing in a conference and already has 2 losses, and this already assumes that they go 10-2 and run the table.
Yeah.
There's just going to be a couple of those other teams I think get the nod.
Well, hey, quickly, guys, I want to move on to what Blaine's boys at Vandy pulled off on the road. But listen to this A&M schedule. You get a bye week. Then you get Auburn at home, should be favored. Mississippi State at home, going to be favored. Florida at home, going to be favored. At Arkansas, probably going to be favored. Guys, I mean, A&M staring 7-0 right in the face. Yeah. And then you go to LSU and you go to Missouri. You split those. You're able to split those. You get South Carolina at home, Samford at home, and then at Texas. You could give yourself an opportunity if you handle business and games your favorite in, a chance to walk into that Texas game at 10-1 possibly. Right, 10-2, I think definitely gets you in. So this A&M team, there's some chinks in the armor for sure, and a lot of it's on the defensive side and the discipline side. But this win is just so massive to put yourself in that pole position to be able to make a run while you see the carnage with everybody else is going to be big. But guys, speaking of big, Diego Pavia may not be the biggest guy. And you can say so we could talk about Lenora Sellers and that being a penalty and
eat him up
and all this stuff, but you got to call a spade a spade. South Carolina didn't lose that game because Lenora Sellers got hurt.
I agree with that.
South Carolina lost that game because Vandy's a effing problem, bro. Problem. Perfect fit offensively for Diego Pavia. I mean, it's just like playing this dude. It's like guerrilla warfare.
You know what
I'm saying? Like, it's not back in the day when they're crazy and they'd be like, all right, line up. Y'all shoot first at us, and then we're going to shoot at y'all. That's not what it is. This is in the jungles, right? This is guys are hiding behind coconuts, and there's traps under bushes and stuff whenever you play Vandy. And they push South Carolina around. They pushed them around. I mean, Lassiter, 1 carry, 44 yards. Alexander, 13 carries, 41 yards. Pavia, 24 yards. They ran for 146. It's not like it was a million yards, but God, they make the plays when they have to make them. I'm so impressed with what Clark Lee's done. Like, they're just good, David. They're just good.
Which I love to see. And I mean, shame on me for telling everyone to sell the stock when it was at its highest point. I just didn't think a guy like Diego Pavia, as much of a gamer as he was, as many games as he had already won, could talk that much trash in the offseason and the SEC teams around the league not have something to say about it. And so far, they don't have anything to say about it. And I agree with you, Jake. It's very unfortunate we didn't get an edition of this matchup with Lenora Sellers playing for an entire 60 minutes, but that's just the reality of the game. And to be frank, I agree with you. I don't think it would have mattered. Just the way these teams play. And I told you guys this week when I think it was Blaine and Pollock both took Vandy. Yeah, I had this weird feeling in my gut, man, just what I had seen so far, that this was going to be the natural conclusion of this matchup. But on the Lenora Sellers hit, guys, like, and this happened in the LSU game as well. And I just continue to say it because we're kicking young men out of football games for really doing what they're coached to do. And at some point, it's a physical game. It's a physical game, and we're either going to put flags on guys or we're going to let them play football. And granted, I'm saying this, and I watched that hit yesterday after listening to Bob Baumhauer tell me stories of the old days for 2 hours about how he used to get chop blocked legally every single play. Yeah. So my perspective was a little bit different when I saw this. So it was kind of an interesting dichotomy yesterday. But Lenora Sellers is 6'3", 240. You got a guy coming through who hits him and immediately lets up. And this indicator rule and targeting of, oh, is it the crown of the helmet? Is it forcible? Is it defensive? What was it the quarterback? Like, we're convoluting a beautiful game too much. We need to go out there and let these guys play football. And now that kid got thrown out of the game and he's going to miss time next week. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times we have to go through. Why don't we have flagrant ones and flagrant twos? Why don't we do it like they do in college basketball, right? It's a flagrant one or a flagrant two. Flagrant one, all right, incidental, 15-yard penalty, whatever. Flagrant two, you definitely did it on purpose, tried to spear, whatever. Then you could tell. It's just gotten to the point now where it's such a harsh penalty. The time doesn't fit the crime, right? It's like back in the day, they'd steal an apple, they'd cut your hand off, right? You're probably not going to steal again, but man, damn, could you just said no? Like, give me one chance to not do it again. And then if I did it again, chop my hand off. That's what it feels like to me. But guys, I mean, South Carolina, and they had problems before this with Lenore Sellers. Like, go look at what happened to Virginia Tech. Go look at what Vandy did to Virginia Tech in the second half. Whatever Vandy's doing at halftime, I don't know, Blaine, what they're eating. I don't know what they're watching. I don't care if it's the Mystery Men or Miss Rachel. Whatever they're doing at halftime, if you're Vanderbilt, is working because you have now outscored the last two opponents, right, who was at Virginia Tech and then at South Carolina. In the second half, you've outscored them 51-0. 51-0. Is Vandy a play?
No,
say what you said yesterday. I'll let you say it.
Well, I think you watch Vanderbilt. They're definitely a ranked team, and two, is Vandy a playoff team? I mean, you can say what you want about them right now. I mean, look, David, for your point, I don't think targeting should be a thing. We've gone over that. But, I mean, really look at what this Vanderbilt team is doing. Like, it's not like people love to talk about John Mateer, Jeremiah Smith, Garrett Nussmeier. The biggest threat to college football is Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt. Like, and it's not like they're walking in and just, coming out of the shadows, and like they're lining up on the line of scrimmage and they are kicking your ass, right? That's what I don't even have to go look at the final score to know if Vanderbilt won. Just go look at time of possession. If they win that, 99% of the time, Vanderbilt's going to win the game. But it's not only Diego Pavia. Just watch their offense work. They have the talent. Right, yeah, they have the backs, they have the receiver, the defense flies around, and you can tell that they believe, and they still have that chip on their shoulder to think that they're not good enough. Like, Vandy lines up, kicks your ass. It's not pretty to watch if you don't know football. It might, they just get 4 yards every play, but they know exactly who they are, and that's why I think right now, Vandy should be ranked. And why shouldn't we talk about them being a playoff team or at least a playoff contender? It's because they're Vanderbilt. Those days are days are over. Old college football is over. I mean, there's new kids on the block.
Yeah, well, and I think they should definitely be in our top 15, our power rankings tomorrow that we put out. Who wants them right now? Honestly, who would you rather play on a neutral field right now? A&M or Vandy?
A&M. 1,000%.
I would much rather play A&M
than
Vandy on a neutral side.
And look, you can call me crazy, but I just don't think South Carolina's that good. I said it last week.
Well, especially when Lenore Sellers is the guy who's supposed to tip that balance. So when he's not there,
Well, but again, this is why Blaine, you bring it up. We talked about it last. That's why we said like South Carolina's like the chick at the other end of the bar that you walk in, and like in some angles she's really hot, but the other ones you're like, I don't know. Like you just have to go up and just look at her. You know what I'm saying? To make sure it's it's real, or is it Maybelline or whatever that saying is. But when you look at South Carolina, it felt like that offensive line, and we said it a million times, like Lenoris is not going to make it through the year. If y'all can't protect him, he's got to run for his life like this. And he hasn't made it through the first 5 games. Right? He's been beat up, but you struggled against South Carolina State for a while. You struggled against Virginia Tech, who we know now is dog water, right? They're hot dog water. Old Dominion was up 38-0 at your crib. They're about to fire Brent Pry, I think. So Virginia Tech's a bad football team. How good really is South Carolina? But I know this about Vandy. Blaine, you bring up the point about, they still have the chip on the shoulder. They do, but I don't think they see themselves as academic athletes anymore. I think they see themselves as we're SEC football players.
It's not what they see themselves. It's what other people see as them.
Like, and look, obviously school's very important. It's very important. And getting a degree from Vandy, that's awesome. But Clark Lee has totally brainwashed in a great way the way that Vanderbilt's looked at. And I think the way they look at themselves. That in 10 years now, my daughter may grow up in an era in Nashville where Vandy is a party football school. What? Now, she's not going to be allowed to go because she's not dating until she's 40. But that'd be a crazy alternate Doctor Strange reality to live in.
I will say this quickly. I mean, for South Carolina, although you lost to North Sellers, I still don't think Mike Shula has called a good game on offense since this season really started.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's his first year there. Even against the Virginia Tech game, like
they don't take shots.
They don't take Nicholas Harbor, one of the fastest people on this planet, and he's huge, right? You throw one post against Virginia Tech and he scores, and you take no more shots. It's just Mike Shula still figuring out this offense, I guess. I don't know how after the timetable we can really look at. So I think Coach Beamer in South Carolina is going to have to look inside themselves and kind of figure out who they are still going through the year.
Hey, I wanted to make one point quick about what you were saying about Vanderbilt, because there are two edges of the sword when it comes to the transfer portal. You know, one edge of that sword is you bring in a bunch of mercenaries who really have no connection with the culture and the heritage of a program, and they weren't recruited initially by that program, and you find yourself going 2-10 at a place like Florida State a year ago. The other side of that sword is you bring in a bunch of guys sometimes who really don't know that program's not supposed to be great. Right?
Yeah,
like from a brand standpoint, like you bring in someone like Diego Pavia, who's just excited to be able to compete in the SEC, and you bring in some guys with him who actually believe, and you find yourself in a perfect storm where Clark Lee has been able to build up this program and sort of set the culture. And all of a sudden it's like, yeah, who cares what Vanderbilt used to be? We're going to go out and beat you today. And that's exactly what they're doing. It's fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of the Water Boy. When like they're just going to school to play football. That's the only reason, not because they love school or that's how you win. It just feels like from the South Carolina standpoint, just moving on after this, that Mike Shula calls plays like the guy that goes to the beach and just stays in the pool the whole time. Like what? Why don't you just go to the pool then and not pay money to go to the beach? I'm not saying never go to the pool when you're at the beach, but at some point you need to go out on the beach, man. Don't just hang by the pool.
Take your shirt off. Relax.
Yeah, I know. Don't be scared. Look, you're 60. All right, it's over with. Anyways, moving on, guys. Clemson. Wow. And I don't want to take anything away from Georgia Tech, right? Because it ended up being a 2.5, 3.5 point spread. It wasn't like this is some just humongous upset that nobody saw coming. I thought Clemson, and it looked like they're in the second half, they were going to be able to rally with all this production and experience that they have coming back, and Dabo, understanding kind of the pulse of his team. You come out, offensively, you look really bad in the first quarter. Defense, you hold them to 3, had some short fields. Clemson they just look average, man. How is Haynes King able to walk anymore? Mm-hmm. That's what I've left watching these Georgia Tech games. Like, you talk about worried about in the future. I don't know what Haynes King plans to do after this, but he may be the toughest guy in America because he's just keeping it. Like, big downs, 3rd and 3, 4th and 1, jet sweep motion, zone read motion. Haynes is keeping it. And, I mean, to his credit, it works. But was this more, Blaine, I'll start with you. Is this more about Clemson being just maybe as bad as what they look like? Or is this more about Georgia Tech just being that good?
I think Georgia Tech being that good, but I think Clemson's not anywhere close to the standard that we thought they would be, right? A lot of people have them winning the national championship, or at least national championship. And the big thing I want to point out first is what's happened to Cade Klubnik. The drop-off of Cade Klubnik should be studied at this point. I mean, name a good game he's had. Right, his confidence is shot. Hell, I can tell that by Dabo walking on the sidelines. He's done terrible against pressure this year, against blitz. Doesn't know what he's looking at. And the third thing, not even on Cade, it's just what blows my mind is it's 3rd and 4. All right, it's 3rd and 3. Clemson, you're on defense. Everybody in that stadium, everybody on that sideline, everybody on this planet who is watching that football game knows one man is getting the ball, One man is going to run it, and that is Haynes King, and you still couldn't stop it with all this production you got back. Haynes King reminds me of the guy from Hacksaw Ridge, right? He's just out here saving everybody.
He keeps going up.
Saving everybody. Doesn't even have a gun, right? But there's nothing you can do to stop him from saving everybody. And he does it every time when the other team knows it. Clemson's average. They're an average football team. And I think we all know that at this point. Look, the ACC right now is fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating as a conference. And who would have thought that we wouldn't even have Clemson in there to talk about it? So at this point,
are they cooked? Are they cooked?
I mean, good. Are you cooked? Yeah, it's like me.
No, the answer to that question is no.
I don't
not
know.
in the way that.
Well, I mean, technically not cooked from a
technically
the ACC standpoint, but I don't think they are.
How many games they win last year and went to the college football playoff?
Yeah,
that's the unique thing about being in a conference in the way that Notre Dame is not.
True.
Well,
because one of those losses is out of conference to LSU.
Yeah. I mean, you get Syracuse at home. You're at North Carolina. You're at BC. God, BC is awful. SMU at home. Duke at home. Florida State at home. At Louisville. I mean, you got to win out. You win out, go 10-2, or you obviously make the conference championship game, which. That lost out of Georgia Tech and the way that Miami and Florida State look, that just – I don't know. You're not cooked, but obviously I think –
Florida State's going to drag your ass. They're going to drag your – even that game being at Clemson. I mean,
that game at Louisville too.
Yeah, but that Florida State game, I bet it's a 14-point spread.
14 – by the time it gets there, you think it's 14. It's at Clemson.
Yeah, or it'd be 21.
I mean, I just –
But that's the uniqueness of the postseason setup now. Remember, this team went 9-3 a year ago and made the college football playoff when another team in their conference, Miami, went 10-2. So they could lose again at the end of the year to South Carolina. That's out of conference. They maybe could even drop another ACC game, still find themselves in the ACC championship game, and Dabo just does what Dabo does and wins it. I mean, I saw a stat that this is the worst start that Clemson has had in maybe 12 seasons.
Yeah.
And in that season, they went 10-3. Okay, so that's kind of the uniqueness of the playoffs. So are they cooked? Not technically. Is Clemson the biggest disappointment in college football so far? Certainly, right? And we keep asking the same question every week of, well, does this loss say more about Clemson or the other team? Clemson or the other team? Well, at some point, it's saying a lot about you because the personnel is too good on both sides of the ball to be 1-2. The coaching staff, including a head coach that's won 2 national championships, is too good to be 1-2. But this is why I told you guys this week in my preseason prediction, if I'm going to be wrong about a pick, I want to be wrong going with the team that I know is going to fight for 4 quarters, and that was Georgia Tech, and a 55-yarder walk-off field goal, longest in program history. That kid's going to have that for the rest of his life.
No, and look, that had long money on it.
Yeah.
That kick. You want to hear a crazy stat? Listen to this. So far in 2025, Haynes King ran the ball 25 times yesterday for 103 yards. So far in 2025, Haynes King has attempted 48 passes. So far in 2025, Haynes King has carried the ball 44 times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy's thrown it 4 more times than he's run it.
Saving lives.
Hey, how about those Texas A&M transfer quarterbacks, man? Not just him. Connor Wegman at Houston. Gutsy performance Friday night.
Coney, he had 100. Haynes had 120 carries all year in 2023, which is a lot. Had 125 in 2024. And right now in 2025 through how many games is Georgia Tech? What, they're 3-0? So you've had 44 carries through 3 games. So you're averaging about 15 times 10, 150. I mean, you're on pace. I mean, for over 150 carries right now. But I mean, this is who they are. It's
they
not like
know who they are.
The NFL.
They know who they are.
Yeah.
But
and the things you saw, like the little Philly special in this game, I just love this. Something about me being a football fan and watching that just warms my heart. And the second thing, if you're Georgia Tech, I mean, you go from having 6 turnovers against Colorado to 0 against Clemson. That's how you beat a team of Clemson's caliber at home. So good for Brent Key. And Jake, I thought you should give a little bit more credit to that fire drill special teams field goal that got made, because that entire process is insane.
Yeah, we used to call it Toro. You practice it, a couple times a week. You do it in your Thursday specials, and then on Friday during walkthrough, you work it. But sometimes, especially for young kickers, sometimes the best thing that can happen in that situation is that fire drill, because you don't have time to think.
Yeah.
You just go out there and kick.
True.
It's like me with my golf swing. When I'm in between 3 to 6 beers, I'm not thinking anymore about it. I'm just hitting the ball. I'm just got a plan, and I'm going to hit it. And it typically works out better. It's the same thing. It's tough to pull off, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's easier for the kicker. Guys, just a couple other games here. Alabama handled Wisconsin. We felt like that was going to happen.
They're back.
Yeah, not yet.
They're back, guys.
Until they play
playoff team
Georgia. Not going to know until they play Georgia. Did some good things, overmatched Wisconsin. Believe me, if anybody wants them to be back, as crazy as that sounds, it's me picking them to win the Natty. But if you're an Alabama fan, I'd feel a little bit better. But it's kind of like
they do. I mean, I witnessed this one firsthand. Like, Alabama just outclassed Wisconsin. But what surprised me more was the demeanor of the team there on the sideline and the fans in the stadium. This is not a fan base or a program right now that has panicked. And I genuinely wanted to know, like, what is the vibe of Alabama fans? They're focused. They know that the onus is on them to regain the national trust, so to speak, the way they performed week 1. But they are not panicked. They understand that this is a long season, and especially with a 12-team playoff, that they're very much in this thing. Still a little surprised they're not running the ball a little bit more effectively. But Ty Simpson, I told you guys, if he can take what he did that first drive against Florida State, right, and have a complete game like that, and that's what he's done these past 2 weeks, man. Ball placement, RPO reads, he looks great. Ryan Williams was healthy. Man, they look like a great football team.
I mean, the effort was there. That should never be questioned. And it's just crazy because I'm watching Alabama, and I mean, Bray Hubbard had a great game, couple interceptions, had some big hits coming downhill. Bama's trying. It's weird to watch Bama try to be violent, and it be violent, but not like it used to be still. Like, Bama was flying around yesterday on defense, hitting, but guys just don't go back the way they used to. Like, I just think Alabama had aggregated so much talent. Like, their team was just so much bigger and faster and stronger than most teams they played that I still – and Blaine, you said yesterday we were watching the games, have this warped mind of just expecting just people to spontaneously combust when Bama hits them, and then giving up kickoff returns for a touchdown. You felt like you never saw that just because of the level of athlete that was on special teams. But hell – you beat a Wisconsin team 38-14, came out, looked great, got up 28-0, covered the bet for me, Blaine. I mean, it was –
my thing is, and we've said this before, is you could have beat Wisconsin by 1,000.
Yeah, and you're still not
right.
going.
And you still – and I think the Bama fans think the same thing. I'm sure they're going to show out, but they're still waiting on Kevin DeBoer to prove himself, right, against a ranked team. I mean, the guy's 500 against ranked teams since he's been in Alabama. Sure, you can go beat ULM by 1,000. You can go beat a terrible Wisconsin team and cover, but you still really hadn't found out if he can get the job done at Alabama. David, maybe you're hanging out with better Alabama fans than me, because most ones I talked to have panicked since that loss against Florida State and still really hadn't proven anything until you play somebody worth their salt. So I still think it's a mix on fans of Alabama on what they feel about Kalen DeBoer.
Oh yeah, certainly. And I mean, look, social media is different from real life. That's why I was really interested to see what their perspective was being in person with them down there like that. But yeah, I don't think, look, they understand that this guy has a lot to prove still. I mean, you can't just win 2 games against UL Monroe and Wisconsin and think like, oh, maybe he can be Nick Saban. No, there's concern, but there's focus and there's a positive energy that I felt in the stadium.
Yeah, and again, it's you could get a lot of equity back if you're able to find a way to go beat Georgia on the road. And I mean, Georgia doesn't
beatable,
look like the Avengers, right? Like, Blaine looked at me yesterday at some point and was like, does just everybody suck this year in college football? It's just everybody suck.
Like, I looked up and Ohio State was beating Ohio by like 5.
Yeah, but it's just everybody bad.
There's just more parity, and that's what we've been asking for in the sport for the last 15 years.
Guys, there's some parity. This is the last one I have in the lineup here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Again, Georgia, Tennessee, we did a full instant reaction to that right there on our channel. You should be able to find it. It was a hell of a game, one of the many. But guys, Arkansas, Ole Miss. Ole Miss ended up not covering the 6.5 for me. They won by 6. But, as far as Lane Kiffin goes, I know, we talk about what he does on social media, and it can look kind of unorganized at times and just kind of fly by the seat of your pants. But, I mean, this dude just gets guys ready to play in games, like especially at the quarterback position. I mean, Austin Simmons, game time decision, throws one pass. It was pretty efficient. It was for 4 yards and a touchdown. You could tell he couldn't move. But Trinidad Chambliss just comes in, goes 21-29 for 353, goes for a touchdown, rushes for 62 yards on 15 carries and 2 touchdowns. And the crazy part is he had the second best game by the quarterback, because Taylon Green on the other side, 22-35 for 305 and a touch, 14 carries for 115 yards and a touchdown. I mean, this was just which quarterback is going to will their team to a victory, and it was Trinidad Chambliss. But, I mean, Coney, at the end of the day, Lane gets these guys ready to play. Ole Miss is 3-0, 2-0 in the SEC to start.
Not only does he get him ready to play, but this goes back to the earlier point that I made about development, because I'm watching a 5-star guy in DJ Lagway throw 5 interceptions. Meanwhile, Lane Kiffin almost is just taking anyone off the street saying, hey, I'm going to put together a game plan that's going to lead to success for us on this particular Saturday. And so I do think, what if Lane Kiffin has a kid like DJ Lagway who he's able to develop and just pass along all that offensive information that he has? But, we talked about, is this going to be kind of Ole Miss and Tennessee in the same camp? Are they going to take a step back this year, both of those programs? So far, to me, both of them are playing incredible football.
Blaine, I mean, you look at Arkansas's schedule, you go to Memphis next.
Yeah, I know where you're getting at.
And then you got Notre Dame at home. I mean, you can get it back, right? You can get it back. But if you go lose at Memphis, I think we can start
the swan song
down the bamboo and building that raft.
Yeah.
To put them on.
And look, I'm a big Sam Pittman fan here. He's always just been so nice to us in the show. And,
I heard you weren't.
But I will say this. I know, great win by Ole Miss. I think Lane Kiffin might be the funniest coach in the SEC. I don't know if you saw, but the basketball went on the field.
The basketball thing, that was funny.
Right, and then did an interview and did the peace out as the interview was going. I was just dying laughing.
Yeah.
But I just don't think this guy gets talked about enough because of where he plays. Taylon Green is a damn good quarterback.
Yeah.
Damn good quarterback. And I think you could put him up there with the best in the SEC. I mean, he has the height, he has the arm, he has the speed, he has the IQ. Look, I know Ole Miss defense is not what it was last year with what they lost, but I think Taylon Green is a fantastic player. But look, Lane Kiffin, if he can do anything right, I promise you he can get a quarterback ready. And we saw that against that Arkansas game. But this Ole Miss team, it feels like the Ole Miss team we've been seeing, in the years past, not last year, but before that. Look, if we want to win a big game, we're going to have to score 50. If we want to win a big game, we're going to have to score 40 plus, because that defense with the production that they lost is not going to be able to really overcome, that this year. So both teams very interesting. I mean, Ole Miss, I have them going 8-4. I can still see that record happening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if you're Ole Miss, you got Tulane at home next week. Then you get LSU at home, Washington State at home. Then it's at Georgia, at OU, South Carolina at home. The Citadel you're going to beat, 4 at home, and at Mississippi State.
I know this is random, but for some reason, the Washington State game got pulled up, and North Texas was kicking their ass.
Yeah, it was like 42-3 at half.
Oh, God, Dave, it was murder.
It was. I think Washington State turned it over like 4 straight times.
It's just like you keep getting your quarterbacks poached, man.
Yeah,
leave us alone, dog.
It's tough out here on these streets. Arbuckle's like, I'm gone. I'm going to go to OU with Mateer. But anything else on the periphery here, guys?
I'll talk about Michigan for a second. 63-3 over Central Michigan, which, look, you should beat Central Michigan. I'm just not accustomed to seeing Michigan beat opponents like that. Normally they just, you want to run the football and win 37-17 or something, I think with interim coach Biff Poggi, you saw them take the governor off Bryce Underwood a bit, and he put on an absolute clinic. And I think everyone in the country could see what the potential was and what the ceiling feeling was. I know there's a lot of jokes going around about, oh, well, let's just suspend Sharon Moore for every game. Like, guys, don't go too far here. You could call the exact same plays that they called yesterday against Oklahoma and still lose that football game. Oklahoma deserves their flowers. They're a really good football team, but there is a mindset shift in Ann Arbor, I believe personally, where the proposition of if Bryce Underwood just plays average and we get average quarterback play this year, we'll be better than we were a year ago because the roster around him can be allowed to be great. That proposition has failed. That's not going to happen. They need Bryce Underwood to be the quarterback he came in to be, even as a freshman, which is a tall task, but he's shown glimpses of that. Now you're going to move into Big Ten play, going to go on the road to Nebraska without your head coach. Let's really find out, because what they did yesterday was quite impressive to me.
Well, I just think what I find funny is it's just amazing how much of a better coach you are when you have better players than the other team.
Sure.
Like Biff Poggi would have lost that game with Charlotte against Central Michigan with the players he had at Charlotte, but he can be the interim head coach at Michigan and go.
But he alluded to that. And which is why people love this guy. He said my Labrador retriever could have coached Bryce Underwood today.
Yeah, no. It's like, but it's just the truth. That's why recruiting, like,
you're Central Michigan. I'm like, man, shit.
Yeah. Look, Auburn beats out Alabama.
I got a couple things quickly.
Go ahead. Before we say bye.
Yeah. The teams I'll never bet again. I just want you to know that I'm going to come out here publicly and do this. Iowa State, atrocious. Atrocious. We're all disappointed. We're all, including your parents and your coach. I'll never bet you again. You beat Arkansas State by 8. Grow up, Peter Pan.
Tell about Oregon. Tell about what Oregon did to you. Yeah.
Me too.
Dan, look, big fan here. All right. Dear Dan. All right. Dog, you explain to me. All right. I want an explanation on how we give up an 84-yard touchdown run on inside zone with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. Dan. Right, Dan? I feel like that thing off of what movie? Ace Ventura? Dan? I don't get it. Help me understand it. I'll never bet you again. And Tennessee, can't do it, dog. I'm done. Y'all had every chance in the world. I can't bet y'all. It's over with.
You should have said if Tennessee lost, you dye your hair back to normal color.
I gotta figure out something to do with my hair. I don't know either.
Thanks, you gotta let it go.
You gotta let it go,
brother. Just let it go.
Let it go. Start writing. When's the mixtape coming out?
It's already out.
Hey, how about the Villanova cover against Penn State?
The back door?
52 to 52 to 6.
Oh, and I'll tell you this right now. If you're a better in Oregon State, bet against them.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Fade.
the worst things I've ever seen in my life. You want to talk about not trying to win? Oregon State's just trying to get out of there as quick as possible.
Yeah, it's
sad.
Malik Murphy, man. By the way, Texas, Coney, did you watch?
Arch? What was it? Arch 10 or 11 straight incompletions in the second quarter.
We watched it. You want to talk about
a win's a win, big win, Longhorns.
A win's a win. He's over here talking about he's never going to bet on Oregon again. They got backups in. Defense.
Georgia beat Austin Peay 28-3. We didn't freak out on that, did we?
Hey, how about Miami though? 49-12 over South Florida. I'm interested to see if we rank them number 1 tomorrow. That's what I'm interested to see. But you got to watch tomorrow. To find out.
Yeah, for sure. No, Miami's that line of scrimmage. They're one of the best in the country. But if you watch this show or listen to it, you're one of the best in the country. And if you want to hang out with other people that are the best in the country, get them to watch and listen as well. But we got some previews coming out today as well. Got our power rankings dropping. Obviously going to look at what the college football playoffs going to be looking like when you crunch the numbers and put liquid paper on a B and see if it dies or not. More great guests, more game previews as well. Make sure you're locked into Crain and Company. Hope everybody has a fantastic rest of the weekend. And week 4, it's going to be awesome. Got a little NFL today, right? A little NFL. So enjoy that and like the chances of me not being excited about Viola getting baptized today. Yeah. We're going. Gone.